Welcome to LIBS 1810 or LIBS 1540, Student Success for Higher Learning. I have created a number of videos for each of the chapters of our textbook, College Success, which you can download from eConestoga. It is a free textbook, and while it's long, it has a lot of valuable information. Chapter 1 is an overview of some of the things that we are going to be studying while we are in this course. So some of the themes that we're going to be looking at throughout the semester are time management skills, stress management skills, learning preferences or multiple intelligences and how to use them. We'll be talking about IQ and EQ, which is emotional intelligence. We'll also be talking about budgeting and various other study techniques as we are going through the semester. But I want to get into Chapter 1, and the objectives for this chapter are discovering who you are, understanding the general student population at the college, understanding how you learn, understanding what college really is so that once you're in your programs, you'll have a bit better idea of what is expected of you. And we're also going to touch on time management and achieving success. So if you are just joining us in Level 4, then this is a new experience for you. But if you are coming from another level into Level 4, I'm sure you will probably already be aware of some of these facts. But the first thing is, college is a lot of hard work. And Level 4 is especially trying. It's very, very similar to what you will be experiencing in your program. College also means making sacrifices of your time, your money, your value changes. It means acquiring new knowledge as well, being a better problem solver and becoming better at decision-making skills. You're also going to be improving your critical thinking skills, and we'll be talking more about all of these when we get into the semester. But finally, going to college means improved adaptability. And all of these skills are something that employers are looking for in college graduates. The first thing that you need to determine, though, when you're looking at who you are, is what are your values? Our values are influenced by our culture, by our family, by our religion, if we practice one, by the friends that we have and the peers that we have. And values do change over time. In order to really look at your values, go to pages 8 and 9 in the College Success textbook and do the inventory there. Understanding your values will also help you figure out your time management and stress management while you're in college, because sometimes we have to adjust our values while we are going to school. When we are looking at our values, it helps us determine our goals. And these goals help us figure out how we're going to use our time every day, which may have an impact on success. Another thing that you can do is you can also look at the career link from the Canadian government. If you look at the PowerPoint slides in eConestoga, you'll find the active link there. Going through a career quiz can also help you decide whether or not you are on the right track for once you get into your program at the college. And when we're in college, it's important to remember that time management is very, very crucial to your success. We need to make sure that we set up our schedules ahead of time, that we plan out when we're going to begin studying for tests or exams and when to start working on assignments. We also need to make sure that we carve out the time that we need to study. When you're on campus, you may find that some of the classes you're attending can be large. And a lot of professors teach by lecturing, We call this the sage on the stage. When you are in college, you are expected to do a lot of reading and studying on your own. So for every hour in class, you need to expect to spend at least another hour outside class. It may be doing reading, it may be working on assignments, it may be looking up more information so that you understand the topic better. In Canada and the US as well, you'll also meet people from diverse backgrounds. And this can be a challenge because we're not all aware of what other people's cultures and values are. When you're in college, there are a few dangers that you do need to pay attention to. The first one is, for many courses, attendance is not mandatory, and attendance is not part of your actual grade. However, skipping classes because attendance is not taken is not a good idea because you're going to miss a lot of important information. It also becomes very easy to miss deadlines because there are so many different things piled up that we need to accomplish. Failing to plan ahead almost guarantees failure. Don't leave assignments until the last minute either. You will hear many students brag that they did the assignment at the last minute and they got straight A's. Don't believe them. Also, be aware that if you give priority to certain courses over others, for example, you pay more attention to your core courses than your electives, you will find that your overall average will often drop. So you want to make sure that you spread your time equally among your courses. Another danger is working at a part-time job for too many hours so that you don't have enough time to study. And finally, not eating properly or exercising and not taking care of our physical and mental health can be a very real danger while going to college. There are ways, though, that you can accomplish your goals, and this is done by setting SMART goals. However, a few years ago, I found a new way of looking at this, and instead of just SMART goals, we can use SMARTER goals. And the SMART or SMARTER is an acronym, and each letter stands for a certain word. So S means specific. You need to have a specific goal in mind. It also has to be a measurable goal. So can you see that you are working on achieving it? It also has to be an achievable or an attainable goal. It has to be relevant to what you are actually doing at this point in time. It should also be a time-bound goal. And as you are proceeding, you want to check and see whether whether you're really meeting your goals and whether your goals are really realistic or not. So you need to go back and check your goals and evaluate them occasionally. And finally, the R stands for reward. Once you've achieved your goal, you deserve to reward yourself. So I'll give a specific example of how to set a SMARTER goal. So for example, many students, when they come to Canada, find that they gain weight. And this is because the food is different, the stress is much higher, you're in a new environment, and you may not always have the time to make proper nutritious meals. So let's set SMART goals. So say you have gained 5 kilograms and you want to lose that 5 kilograms. So this is a specific goal because you want to lose 5 kilograms. Now, if you just say I want to lose 5 kilograms and then do nothing about it, you probably won't lose weight. So you want to make it a measurable goal. For example, you may set how many calories you're going to eat per day. And you set the amount of weight that you want to lose each week. So for example, half a kilogram. You also have to make sure that the goal is achievable or attainable, because if you don't, you'll give up on your goal. So if I said I want to lose 5 kilograms in a week, that is not an achievable or attainable goal. Half a kilogram is achievable or attainable. Now, your goal also has to be relevant, because if the goal isn't relevant to you, you won't do it. So if you want to lose the weight, it has to be relevant. So maybe your clothes aren't fitting as well, or you just don't feel like you have as much energy. So if these are part of what you're feeling and you set a goal to lose weight, then it becomes relevant. Now, the time bound also gives you incentive to achieve the goal in a timely manner. So you want to lose half a kilogram each week. So if you lose half a kilogram each week, multiply that out and figure out how many weeks it's going to take you to lose that weight. Now remember though, that these goals are not set in stone. Sometimes we may lose half a kilogram, maybe we don't. So if we find that we're not achieving that half a kilogram each week, maybe we need to go back and reevaluate what it is that we're doing. Maybe we need to change something in the measurable section. Maybe we need to change the relevance. But by going back and evaluating, you can adjust your goal. And then finally, once you've achieved your goal of losing 5 kilograms, you can reward yourself. It's not a good idea to reward yourself with a big piece of pie or a big pizza. Reward yourself with something that is meaningful for yourself. So by setting our smarter goals, we are helping to ensure our success while we were at school. Another important thing is having a positive attitude while you are in school. It can be very easy to be bogged down and to start feeling depressed or anxious because we're not doing as well as we think we are. So one of the easiest ways to achieve a positive attitude is just to smile, because it will make you feel better. And remember the quote by John Blytheway. It is inch by inch, life's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's very hard. So this means if we take a large task, such as an essay that we have to write, and we sit down and think, oh my gosh, I have to write this essay in one night, I'm never going to get it done. It's going to be a task that we are going to put off or procrastinate about. However, if we break the task into small pieces or small chunks, it is much easier to accomplish the task. So remember, a cinch means that something is very easy. So inch by inch, life's a cinch means that if we break big tasks into small ones, it is much easier to get them done instead of looking at the whole task and thinking, I must get this done right away. You have to make a conscious decision to decide what it is that you want to do as well. I know you want to watch that funny YouTube video, and it's much more fun to do that than it is to actually work on an assignment. But you need to decide that the assignment is more important than being entertained for a few minutes. You also need to realize that you can change. Procrastination is something that a lot of students are guilty of. I'm guilty of it myself. But with practice, you can change that bad habit. You also want to develop a personal ethics code. So decide what is important to you, what you will continue to do to achieve your goals, and what you are not willing to compromise on. So for example, if you are a religious person, then understand that part of your time is going to be taken up going to worship. If you're not a religious person, but you're a video gamer, again, don't stop playing video games. Just adjust the amount of time that you spend on video games. And finally, remember that we only live once, so enjoy your life. When we look at the demographics of college students in Ontario, we have a wide variety of the types of students you're going to see, and you probably fit into one of these categories. So we have what we call our traditional students, and these students are coming right from high school. So this is their first time in what we call post-secondary education. Secondary school is high school in Ontario. Post-secondary is college or university. So remember that our traditional students have never experienced post-secondary school before. We also have returning students, and these returning students may be students who already have a degree from university or a diploma or certificate from college, but they want to change their career or they want to upgrade their skills, so they come back to college. Commuter students are those who have to travel distances in order to get to the college. So if you live in Guelph, or you live in Woodstock, or you live in Hamilton, or Toronto, or Mississauga, and you come to college every day, you are what we refer to as a commuter student. We also have first-generation students, and these are students whose parents have not gone to post-secondary education. So they are the first ones in their family who are attending college. Of course, we have recent immigrants and international students. We have students with disabilities, so people who have hearing problems or vision problems, people who are in wheelchairs, but we also have invisible disabilities, such as learning difficulties. We have students who are working, and maybe you're a student with a family. And each of these types of students has specific challenges. For example, commuter students. If you are driving back and forth to the campus every day, that's a large amount of time that you can't use for studying. So you need to figure out how to utilize your time or how to organize your time so it works best for you. Students with a family, again, you have special challenges because you have to work around your children. However, there are certain characteristics of a successful student, and you'll find this on page 19 in your textbook. And there are important things to remember. These, of course, are not all of the things that you need to be a successful student, but these are some of the key points. So having a good attitude and staying motivated, having good time management skills, developing and applying critical thinking skills, having good note-taking skills, knowing how to prepare for a test and preparing well for it, understanding that you can interact with your professors and your fellow students, and that increases your understanding of topics, and then also taking control of your physical and mental health. This semester we'll also talk about the learning cycle, and in a minute we'll go through what each of these different stages means, but we start with the preparation stage, and then we move to the absorbing stage, then the capture stage, and the review stage. So the preparation means looking over your notes from the previous class before your next class. It also means making sure that you read the information that you need to before coming to class, especially if your professor does a flipped class like this one. It's important to arrive early so that you can get a seat where you can see and hear the professor, And you also need to get your notebooks and your pens out. You need to get all of your supplies ready. And you also want to turn off your social media, but also turn your phone on to silent so that your phone doesn't disturb you. The absorb stage means that you are listening and you are taking in new ideas and information. You need to listen carefully to the lecture so that you can actually understand what's going on. Do not try to multitask as you are listening to a lecture. So don't try to play a game and listen to a lecture at the same time, or use Facebook and listen to a lecture at the same time, because we are not physically able to multitask. Our brain is not capable of it, but we will talk about multitasking later. You also want to make sure that you read your materials carefully so that you can understand the topic. Capturing means to take notes. Studies have shown that the best way to take notes is using a pen and paper because our muscle memory helps us remember the information we're writing down. Don't rely on your phone, on your camera to help you with take notes, because these may disappear and you may not understand them because you haven't personalized them. Remember that the more effective your note-taking skills are, the better you learn. And you also want to take notes when you're reading your textbook. Finally, the review stage. You reread your class notes and your textbook notes. Now, research has shown that if we review within an hour of our class that we just had, we remember information better. However, it's not always practical. So it would be a good idea to perhaps set aside time for review before you have your next class. So, for example, if you have a reading class on Monday and then you have it on Wednesday, use Tuesday evening to go back and review what you did on Monday. Make sure that you review so that you can figure out whether you understand the information or not. And finally, if you're having difficulty, discuss the material with a classmate or with your professor. This will help you retain the information better. We are also going to talk about Gardner's multiple intelligences, or what is known as learning preferences. North Americans love this type of information. We have many different ways of figuring out how we best learn. There is the VARK method. There is also the True Colors method. There's also the Myers-Briggs test. However, we are going to focus on Gardner's multiple intelligences. And just to familiarize yourself with these terms, we each have all of these intelligences, but some are stronger than the others. And we are all individual in this way. So we have verbal linguistic, logical mathematical, visual spatial, bodily kinesthetic, rhythmic or musical, interpersonal, intrapersonal, and the naturalist. If you look at the PowerPoint slides, there is a short video that explains the multiple intelligences. And on Econostoga, there is also a multiple intelligence assessment so that you can figure out or find out what your strongest intelligences are. So the reason why we look at this is because not only does it help us understand ourselves better, but it also helps us interact with other people better. So maybe it will help you understand your professor's teaching style, and it helps you recognize skills that you need to improve. And remember that when you look at your multiple intelligences, these are not set in stone. You can actually improve different intelligences with practice. When you're in college, you will use a lot of your senses. There's, for example, you're seeing, you're listening, but also we do things like reading or actually doing something and making a feeling connection to our material so that we understand it better. So when we're reading, it's important that we underline or highlight key ideas. And you need to take good notes when you're reading and put it in your own words. Add diagrams or charts. And you want to make sure that you take good notes in class because when you go back and review, you have to read your notes. You also want to make sure that you leave yourself enough time for your reading assignments. And remember, you will probably need more time than most Canadian students because you're reading in a second language or even a third or a fourth language. When you're going to class, some of your professors may provide PowerPoint slides, and you can print those out and you can take notes on those as well. And again, it helps you when you are reviewing because you can go back and read your own notes. Listening is extremely important in college. And you want to sit where you can hear your professor and away from distractions. And these distractions may be your friends, it may be social media, it may be noise in the hallway, but you want to avoid these. If your professor allows it, you can also record your lecture and then listen to it again. So maybe if you're a commuter student, you can listen to the recording on your way home. You also want to read notes aloud because when we hear ourselves reading, we remember the information better. And another way to remember the information better is to teach another student because we're speaking aloud, but also we have to understand the material in order to teach someone else. If you still don't understand something, talk to your professor. And you can also use rhymes and acronyms to help you remember the material better. And again, we'll go into more of this as the semester goes on. We also use our sight a lot when we're in college. So you want to pay attention to charts and diagrams and images. You want to pay attention to illustrations or diagrams in your textbook. And you can also use colored pens and markers to take notes. So different information is in a different color. Doing is an important part of being a college student as well. So you want to engage all of your senses when you are learning. So your sight, your hearing, your feeling. Think about how you would teach the topic to someone else. And then when you are actually reviewing and you're studying and you're preparing for your classes, remember it's okay to take a break or move to another place if you're having difficulty concentrating. Make charts or posters or flashcards with your hands to help you study as well. And again, remember that writing notes by hand on a piece of paper helps you remember that information better. And if you're a person that has lots of friends who like to study, study with other students because a lot of times discussing the material will help you remember it more. And finally, the feeling part of it, this may seem a little strange, but feeling is important. We want to really make the material interesting to us. So how can we make an emotional connection? But you also want to get to know your professor. Attend office hours. Find out what they are interested in and why this subject is fascinating to them. You can do supplemental studies. So if there's information that you don't understand, go onto the internet and see what information you can find. And again, you want to study with other students who like the subject material, because that will help you establish a connection to the material. While you are on campus, there are a number of college resources that are available for you, and you can find all of these when you look online. And if you look at the PowerPoint slides, the links will take you to the various different resources that are available. We all want to be successful when we go to college, but it's important to remember that success is not only our grades. It is how well we understand something. It's the complete college experience as well. So, joining clubs, making new friends, learning new subjects, exploring different subjects, and learning new ways of thinking, and learning different ways of life. You're also going to be learning how to make decisions and solve problems that are related to a career. And you're going to gain new skills needed for the job and for life if you really desire that. So you want to make sure that when you are measuring success, you're not only measuring the grades, but you're measuring the other aspects as well. Now, in order to maintain your grades, you need to make sure that you plan and you follow a schedule and that you don't work too much. So you want to make sure that you are paying attention to what your grades are. eConestoga is quite good because a lot of professors will leave the grades up so you can see how you are progressing. Also, when you want to get into another program, you may need to have a certain average. So to graduate from the ELS program, you need to have an average that is higher than 55%. However, most of the college courses in the regular programs have a pass of 55%. But if you have financial aid or scholarships, your grades need to be higher than that. And good grades will help you get into other programs at college or in university or into professional schools. So when you're getting started out, or even if you want to make a start again and try to do better, you want to make sure that you're taking the correct courses. And you can also check for tutoring assistance if you're having difficulty. It's important to also like yourself and believe that you can succeed. Pay attention to your learning preferences and your professor's teaching styles. You want to plan ahead. So assignment 1 is actually planning out a semester schedule and a weekly schedule. And this should help you with your success. You want to get to know other students as well who can help you out. Make an appointment with your professor and meet with your professor. It's always beneficial to make that personal connection. You want to try and participate in class as well, so asking questions. And you want to take care of your mind and body. Most students neglect this when they are looking at going to college. But you need to make sure that you incorporate physical exercise and mental health into your daily schedule. So some of the chapter takeaways are that the first year of college is often the most crucial. This helps us set the stage and learn to be successful students. You need to have a positive attitude, develop your critical thinking skills, have good time management skills, begin to establish effective study skills, get to know your professors and your fellow students, and you want to set up good habits for personal health. Remember to use the learning cycle throughout the semester, the preparing, absorbing, capturing, and reviewing. Understanding your learning styles and your multiple intelligences can also help. You also want to make sure that you take advantage of the resources at the college, especially if you need help. And finally, you need to be prepared to work on being successful. People are not born successful, they work at it. So, this is the end of chapter 1. I want to wish you good luck in this semester. If you are looking to contact me at all, because I teach remotely, you can use my email, kmoran@conestogac.on.ca, or you can contact me through my cell number at 226 218 5956. If you use WhatsApp, so do I, so you can add me. Or you can also meet me through Zoom office hours by appointment. So I'm looking forward to traveling through this course with you this semester. And I wish you all the best.